What up, traders? What up, investors? Ken here from the Dyslexic Investor, and we're going to be looking at 5 of the major tech companies that are reporting next week. That's going to be your Google, aka Alphabet, Facebook, Microsoft, Amazon, and then of course Apple. We're going to be diving into the charts, looking at on a technical side, and then we're going to be waiting to see what happens. So we're going to go with Alphabet, aka Google first. It's going to be ticker symbol GOOG on top there. They also have GOOGL. They're both kind of like inverse. It doesn't really matter on the stock side. There's a difference on the option side. I forget which one is better for options. All right. Anyways, that being said, Google. Again, we're going to do a quick little Fibonacci retracement here on the daily chart. It did close above the 50% bounce from the swing high to low here. We do see it kind of in around the 200-day moving average. Going to putting a line up here for potential breakout here, and then we're just gonna know that this 200-day moving average is basically where the 50% retracement is. The moving averages are moving up to the starting to level off and start going up again. This is the 5, 8, and 21 are starting to push higher. This is a good indication for potential continuation. And then the ticker is between the 5 and the 8, also identifying a potential bigger move to come. Again, with earnings, as I want to mention 100%, that these are completely coin flips. These are very difficult to guess, to guesstimate, whatever word you want to use in that. They could have great revenue, everything can be up, but if they just guide down 2 years from now or whatever, they say something that someone on Wall Street doesn't like, it can just go to the complete opposite direction where it should have gone. So that is the emotional reaction to a lot of stuff around earnings. So again, that's on Tuesday. I want to look here on a little bit longer time frame, like a weekly chart. This also looks pretty good in the sense of it did not close above the 21 here on the weekly chart, but it looks like it's about to. And this looks like a pretty V-shaped bottom to me if I've ever seen it. And if they come out again, if you look at the fundamentals and they start saying things like YouTube, we're seeing a huge increase in YouTube, which probably going to see that due to everyone staying at home, and just other very revenue streams. I think that this could easily pop past the 13333 level, or 1333 level here on the stock chart. But I'm going to keep this on a tight leash, and I'm not 100% sure if I'm going to trade this, especially for earnings, because that could be a complete flip there. And then for resistance on the way down, basically we're going to be looking around it's going to be probably around the 200 is still overhead resistance with the in around the 200 moving average, and then we're going to be looking probably around like the 12 level for a potential level of support, or if it breaks this could be a longer downtrend to maybe the 1165 1150 level. So what we're going to look at, we can look at the potential move for May 1st. It's going to be the close of that Friday. Yep. So May 1st, they're going to say plus or minus $77 for the stock that week. So it's going to be plus or minus $70 from its current price or since of last Friday's close. So again, we could easily see that 1300 level, or we can also see that 1200 level down below here. So just keep very mindful of that and be careful. And again, no one has a crystal ball, and be very smart out there with your decisions. All right, then after the bell on Wednesday, we're going to have Mr. Zuckerberg and his company report. Again, you're going to see a lot of correlation, a lot of the similarities within the big tech sector. Again, it's right below its 200-day here as well. So we're going to do a swing high, swing low. I think this did break above 50 yet. This is pretty well above the 50, and it's hitting the 60 618 here. So we're going to put a alert here. Let's see what happens. Great, thank you. A little lag there, and then we're going to do the 50 below here, just to kind of give me some guidelines. And I just usually get rid of this because it's a little bit too many lines on my screen there. So huge overhead resistance here, the 200 and the 618. The moving averages are really printing upwards, and a lot of momentum behind it, a lot of steam. Again, want to be 100% clear here that earnings is a complete coin flip. Yes, Snap did pretty good. Yes, Snap and Facebook and Instagram are kind of the same sector. That doesn't mean that it's going to reciprocate to Facebook, because Facebook's going to have a lot of underlying expenses, and it's a little bit more bigger in the headlights in the sense of a lot of investors and so forth. So that is on the daily chart. The weekly chart looks really good actually, because it did break above the 21 on the weekly chart. I really like that. That could be potentially, if we get a nice earnings boost, this can easily come back up to the $200 level if the momentum continues. Then looking at some potential support. Again, we have the 180 level, and then probably around the 170 level as well as support if it comes down. And then we're going to be looking at the move for that week is going to be plus or minus $14. So $14 from here could be around 205. So that could be pretty attractive. And then the minus, basically just going to be $15 would be at the 175, which kind of comes into this area here. So it's going to have a pretty wide range. And then I totally forgot to mention that we're having a live stream tonight as well, and I'll be going into a little bit more details and drawing out these various graphs, and then introducing maybe some options into this. All right, so that is the Facebook and the Zuck, and now we're going to go back to Mr. Satya Nadella. We're going to go to Microsoft, and Microsoft is actually, I do own Facebook too. I forgot to mention that. I apologize. I do not own Google. Don't own Amazon or Apple right now, but I do own Facebook and Microsoft for long-term positions. Microsoft is actually still one of my favorites. They are saying that they're going to get less PC sales, but I think that the introduction of a lot of Azure or their cloud services is really going to propel this higher. And this is, you can see here, this is well above the last two, Google and Google and Facebook. It's well above its 618. It actually stalled out here around the 786 over here for a potential more of coming back and kind of slowing down slightly. So what I'm going to do here, I'm going to bring this sucker up here, replace, and then put this sucker here, replace. So it kind of gives me a little better outlook. So I want to see on the momentum's kind of coming off a little bit, but we did have that switch, kind of had that beginning of last week, kind of that a little like, oh dang, like the economy might not be just coming back as we thought, and so forth, like that with the overall pandemic going on. So that is a potential downturn in that little market move. It did close below some of the initial 5 and 8 for potentially pushing it higher. So that's where you kind of see it kind of stalling here. Again, it reports earnings on the following Wednesday after the bell, so we can see on what again will be a coin flip there. Let's go to a weekly chart. This looks really fabulous on a weekly chart. We could be looking at all-time highs potentially next week, I think, if the earnings goes well. Again, looking at the 180 level and then around the 166 level for support if it does come down, and then around 180 if it breaks out, because that's a very key level if it breaks out. And then let's go back here, look at the potential move. It's going to be plus or minus $10. So plus or minus $10 where we're currently at is going to be put it above that 185 level, and then of course is going to bring back down to the 165 level. So that is going to be a huge swing depending on how it goes, because if it closes below on Friday, or even multiple days under the 21, that could be a sign of potential trading sideways or lower. And of course, if it prints higher, it could be a nice little run to try to test all-time high, and could be coming off as well. It's kind of a catch-22. This is going to be a difficult beast to tame. This is why I'm just in it long term, and if it comes crashing down probably to like the 150 level, again, anything can happen. No one has a crystal ball. I would like to be a buyer. And then Amazon is going to be on Thursday, which is Mr. Bezos. And of course, has anyone been following this? This has been a complete beast. Of course, this goes everything that we're currently seeing in the market and the overall stay-at-home economy with the pandemic and so forth. This is just the #1 stock to go to, on top of having all the data centers with AWS, and of course having the groceries being able to deliver and things like that. So this is one that's going to be crazy to see, because I think the move is going to be insane. They're saying plus or minus $167. Yes, it's a $2,000 stock, but $167 plus or minus is going to be a pretty significant amount. So basically, we just do that. Will be around probably well over the price level here, because again, this thing has been flying so high. It has so much momentum on the 5 and the 8 here, and continually to push higher here. This is going to be a very hard one to look at. It has to report earnings to kind of give you a more of an understanding of where it could potentially go, and where to trade it, because it has no. We're looking at an all-time high here, so it literally blew past it. So I think that if I do the fib retracement here, we're going to be like at the 127. Wrong one. Oopsies. This one. Yeah, so this is like the 127 here. So this could be a potential support, and of course, if it reports very well, which I don't see why it couldn't, but again, no one has a crystal ball, for a potential run up to the 2,500 level, and again, that could be easily reached due to a lot of momentum and a lot of money managers wanting to get into a stock that has a lot of momentum and growth during these times of potential slowing economy. We can go ahead. I want to actually put this alert out here. I'd like to update this. I have a little trigger there. Because again, if it comes, even if it sells off and it stays above the 21, it's still very well positioned to continue moving forward, because the RSI is kind of indicating a potential overbought, but again, this is just strange circumstances, and things could change on a coin flip. And then last but not least, we have Apple also reporting on Thursday after the close. This is Tim Cook and company. They just launched a new iPhone that has a fantastic processor in it. And again, there's some indications of sales within China have been going fairly well, even though with the whole economic slowdown and so forth. I actually want to cancel that. So from the swing high to swing low here on the fib, we're looking at the 618 here, showing some little bit of a pushback. I did close there a couple times, but it's trying to push through this. Momentum is trying to switch, so this is a really good indication for a potential kick higher. So I'm going to put an alert here, and then I'm actually going to move this up to the 50% retracement, because that 50% retracement is beautifully laid upon the 21 exponential moving average there as well. So these can be kind of my indicators, my guidelines, in the sense of what could potentially happen next week or around earnings. So I actually want to look at what they are going to report, say plus or minus $15 as well. So $15 is basically from where it's currently at, can go back to well past the, probably could be around to the little bit under the 21 here. and then of course it could potentially touch up to here. I don't know if it's going to hit 300 with a lot more buying and more momentum. It could easily hit 300. It could be a magnet. A lot of stocks, a lot of algorithms like those whole numbers, any from like 300, 275, 250, those kind of numbers that kind of just roll off your tongue. That being said, on the weekly chart, it looks really strong as well. It's above the 21 here. Want to look at some more moving averages and potential resistance and overhead support, resistance and overhead. So 288 looks like there's some potential overhead resistance there, and of course you're going to get a lot around the $300 level because we've had multiple support levels there in the past, and that could be resistance or support coming forth. Again, it's above its 200 on the daily chart, which looks fairly clean. A lot of the moving averages are starting to curl up. Momentum is changing. It's nowhere near overbought on the RSI like Amazon really is. This could be a really good indication where it could literally do a surprise push higher, well over 300, and if the earnings call goes well. But again, everything's a coin flip. This is a total different time in the market, and earnings season is really not very well valued in a sense of so many people just being negative and so many people being optimistic. It's just a very huge divergence in the overall view of the market, but that's what makes the market, right? Buying and selling. So that being said, if you have any questions, please look down below. If not, I would love to see you at the live stream tonight on the 26th at 9 p.m. here on the channel, and I greatly appreciate it. We're going to have a great time talking about some stocks, looking at some charts, and just hanging out. Again, guys, thank you so much for watching. This is Ken from the Dyslexic Investor, and I'll catch you guys on the flip side. Peace.